Everybody's GDP was actually built, was ramped up because of excessive construction spending, infrastructure spending, and that's how we actually got to the numbers that we have. That's how we look at 5% or 6% and so on. What we really have is a situation where there has been no we have a situation whereby this has happened 2 times before, and where you have huge amounts of debt in the system, followed by stagnation of the economy. So we are coming out of a period after a decade of the great financial crisis in 2008-2009. Pretty much at that time, Malaysia was not really affected much. The world was in trouble. There was the US Federal Reserve came out and said, okay, they will open up banking lines for many other countries across the world, and everybody could go out there and stimulate their economies. Since 2009, 2010, 2011, there was excessive amount of money. And definitely the people to make the decisions of how that money should be spent were the people closest in the government. With that, we have now seen the results of it. The first slide is basically to explain that there has been no technological innovation since the early 1990s. All of the things that we see today are repackaged processes, repackaged processes, repackaged services, everything repackaged. There's nothing new. Innovation basically innovation basically is a means to how you could actually deploy, innovation actually means how to actually deploy ways and means to utilize your excess capacity. When you have excess capacity in the system where you have your utilization is very low, you basically will find an innovative ways and means to drive more demand out of those things. What we see today, we have excessive stuff of everything. If you look at out there for example, real estate or infrastructure or anything that you look out there, we have excessive of all of that. And the only way we can drive GDP now is to actually spend more money. And by doing so, what we actually have created is a situation of high debts and stagnation. So that's basically your cycle of peak productivity. The challenge of Malaysia is actually how do we drive higher incomes? How do people get higher incomes? And many of times we tried out the idea that if everybody is educated, they would automatically be able to have higher salaries, but that didn't happen because the illiterate for the past century was somebody who couldn't read and write. The illiterate in this century is somebody who can learn, unlearn, and relearn, and not many people can do that. So I can't even see. So basically what I'm trying to put across is the GDP numbers that you see are basically government spending money. The amount of money the government goes out there and spends, that becomes your higher GDP, and based on that GDP you get better rankings, and your financing cost goes lower, and so on and so forth. Where are we today? So we have 2009 to 2011, we had a global stimulus program. 2013 to 2017, we have hangover, we have high debts, we have stagnating economies, we have a zombification of all of that. We probably are witnessing a liquidity crisis on the horizon very, very soon. So monetization of all those national debts, or monetization of all those assets that you have, everybody wants to line up. Aramco and Saudi Arabia wants to line up. Everybody wants to line up to sell their land banks. 2018 to 2021, you're basically going to have a realization of what's going on. Businesses, consumers, governments, they're all maxed out. They're all maxed out. Student loans, auto loans, housing loans, they're all maxed out. Sovereign funds, we talk about the sovereign funds, they're not liquid. We don't have mark-to-market accounting anymore. We don't have real markets anymore. We have two options. We go lean and mean, we go austerity, the economy is going to shrink. The economy shrinks, your debt still remains. So if you say the economy is doing a trillion ringgit, it shrinks to 700, that debt still remains. Option number two, you continue doing the same of the old thing. You keep on stimulating the economy, keep on spending out there to make your numbers look good, but the debt remains. I have some charts here to basically show you that it doesn't matter whether you inflate or you deflate, you can't get out of this whole situation. Realization has to occur. You have to really look at the whole thing. This is where we actually are. 2 times this has happened before, and both of those times have led to a world war. Trade sanctions, trade barriers is all protectionism that is occurring. And why does it occur? Because end of the day, we are all in an environment with high debts and a stagnating economy. So that's where we are right now. Probably getting into the next phase in the next 1 to 2 years or so on. So Malaysia has to look at that at the same time with the new government coming in. They have to look at all of that. What comes next? You get a bear market. In 3 to 6 months, you get a recession. If it is deeper, you get a depression. What happens with that? Deficits explode. What happens next? Either you go zip again, zero interest rates. That's what the Federal Reserve will probably head to. And they will probably do more quantitative easing. What happens with that? The dollar tanks. Gold soars, CPI spikes. Long-term interest rates will continue to rise. So what you will probably see on this side of the world is you will see deflation occurring. Because we are inverse to the US. If the US suffers from inflation, we see deflation. So you may have that working out in your favor to a certain extent. The Feds will actually be forced to raise interest rates even when the recession comes. And you have a financial crisis on the horizon where there will be no more stimulus and there will be no more bailouts. We've been doing that for a very long time. So where is Malaysia now? So we just going through a phase at the moment where we basically from 2018 to 2019 will play up with the blame game. There will be policy in action during this period of time. Every other country, when India came in, when Modi came in after 60 years of Congress going out, there was a lot of blame game and there was a lot of, we want to see blood on who has done wrong and who hasn't and all of that. This basically creates a situation of policy in action because we had to look at how to fix things. Protectionism, regressiveness, all of that will hit the economy. The economy is going to be hit no matter how you like it. 2019 to 2021, we will come to solutions. It was SARS that occurred in 2003, and then we saw a different result in Singapore. It was the 97-98 crisis that happened, then we saw a different result. But we don't know what is going to happen. That's why we sit down here to talk today. Real innovation is not destructive. If you look at the innovation chart, the first one that I put across right at the start, is to explain that whatever new innovation came, it did not destroy the old. You can't do. It doesn't do that. It basically enhances and it increases the utilization of the excess capacity. Innovation is the only way to do it. We have to find ways and means. We have to have good metrics. That is what we need to do. We need to look at good metrics, not what I think and what you think. We need to look at all the data on an unbiased manner. And then only we will be able to chart the way forward. And the only way for higher incomes, that is what the goal is, to get out of the low income trap. The only way for higher income, it comes with efficiency. The problem that we have here to a certain extent is we have a lot of hand-holding. You know, the young generation somehow has an interest in education. So there is, you go to school, you go get your degrees, and then after that you're not good enough, let's give you another course, and let's give you another course, and let's give you another course. And there is a huge interest in education, but there is not an interest in really doing things. And when you really go out there, and do things, and then you will be able to actually obtain the experience. So this is a chart that I wanted to show that it doesn't matter whether you inflate or you deflate. The government debt situation is not going to go away so soon. Maybe it has to be restructured in some form. Even a high period of inflation will basically just see government debt expand. A low period of, if you have a situation of deflation, then you have a difficulty in paying back those debts. That will be even more painful. So again, use truthful metrics. Don't use selective data. You use selective data to make your story go in one direction is going to create a different set of problems. Only with pain, and no matter how we go forward with this, there is going to be a lot of pain. Only with pain comes deep structural reform. There are opportunities in East Malaysia. That is the only place you actually have to focus and build up. East Malaysia needs infrastructure. East Malaysia needs a lot of stuff. They haven't got that. We've built up everything on this side and our utilization is not there. There are opportunities in tourism. There are opportunities even in immigration. If you look at all the countries in Europe and many other places around the world, what do they really do? They sell you passports. What are all the other countries doing? They're doing tourism. So you have to really go back to you have to diversify the economy out of being the resource-based economy that it was. The commodity resource-based economy is always going to be a low-income level, and it's not going to benefit the large population of the country. Look at the alignment with India and China. India is really, really late in the game with infrastructure development, and that's why a lot of Malaysian companies, they're great with infrastructure, they're great with building things in Malaysia. Go to India and tap those opportunities. India now allows 100% FDI, and that's why IKEA is opening up, and that's why Samsung is opening up, and all of that. So there's huge amount of opportunities in that area. You have to align with China. These are the big two giants. So these are the areas that Malaysia could actually look at. And with that, I conclude my viewpoint.
Well, that's kind of set the stage as to how much we need to do, and to do it quickly, and also to do it well. So public-private cooperation in the form of partnerships or in the form of informal just dialogue, there's this level of urgency.